Hi, my name is Steve, and I am the lean trainer at SnapCab in Canada, and I'm here with Glenn, the founder and CEO of SnapCab. Glenn, good to have you here. What are we talking about today?
We're taking you with us on our visit to Japan.
Yeah, we just returned. That was a fantastic trip. Glenn, why did you have us go to Japan?
The reason we went to Japan was to learn about the Japanese culture. How do they do what they do? You know, at SnapCab, we're building what we call a human business. It's a company culture that has values like be kind, be authentic, and be useful. Our focus is in building a community with each other and taking care of our customers, and there's really no better place to learn that than from Japan.
Yeah, it really was a learning journey. My eyes were opened. It was quite the experience, and so I'm happy to have the chance to begin to share some of that stuff.
And we're starting at the Toyota Motor Car Museum.
Yeah, it really was a great place to begin this conversation as we look at the origins of the Toyota Motor Company with Sakichi Toyota and learning about him.
And I want you to notice how simple it was to improve what he was doing and look at where they are now. So it's an amazing story. So let's get to it.
Yeah, let's watch this.
Wow, this is going to be good. So I'm going to take my time and explain everything. So again, we're going through this transition from the Edo period to the Meiji Restoration. This is the Edo period. This is what it looked like. And then you have the warships, the four black ships come ashore, and all of a sudden Japan has railroads, they have telegraph, they start to develop their industry, their infrastructure, and everything's changed. And Sakichi Toyota's coming up. He sees the loom machines. He actually goes to an exhibition in Tokyo and sees the Western technology. Remember, they said in that video, influenced by Western technology. Well, Sakichi went there and saw all these incredible machines that were from Europe and the United States. He said, how come we don't have those? And he was like, wow, we are really behind. Do you feel really behind, or do you feel like, you know, the cocky Westerner that knows everything, that does everything? Well, let me tell you something. This is the attitude you need to have. Like, man, I'm clueless. That's what happened to me when I came here. I am clueless. Sakichi Toyota felt that way, and he just kept innovating one thing after another, and he became one of the greatest inventors in the world from a single thread. As a result of Sakichi, not everyone else, Sakichi, Japan becomes one of the leaders in the world in textiles. It used to be the Platt brothers, it used to be the United States, but Japan became one of the leaders in the world, not only in production, but in technology. So good was Sakichi Toyota, his innovations, his continual refinement in Kaizen, that he sold the patents to the Platt brothers in UK. And with that money, they started the Toyota production system, the Toyota Motor Company, to compete with Ford. It's really a breathtaking story. Okay, so what Kichiro, his son, said, you know, they had all this engineering prowess and manufacturing prowess as a result of the looms, the metal working, because they had to make the metal frame. He wanted to say, hey, let's take this technology and let's see if we can't make cars, because at that time, Ford, GM, General Motors, they're already in Japan. They were building cars, and they didn't want the Americans to take over their entire industry and own it. So they said, we've got to do something about this. And that's when Kichiro really came on strong. So here we go. This is the birthplace. It's where it all started. So let's go ahead and go in. This is the Model G loom. This is the loom that, after hundreds and thousands of improvements that Sakichi made, he sold the rights to the Platt brothers. They said it was so perfect, it could not be improved anymore. That's how many improvements. That's how much relentless he was. And this is the one that really put him on the map completely. So let's continue on through, and we'll see what's happening. You're going to see it all work because it's all functioning. Ohayou gozaimasu. So they're going to do a demonstration real quick on how cotton is processed.
Spinning has three processes. First, I draw fibers from cotton seed. This is drawing. But it's very soft, so easy to play. Next, I twist them to make them stronger. This is twisting. It became very much harder. And the last, I wind the thread. This is winding. If it plays, it joins easily. Like this. Drawing, twisting, and winding. The basic process of spinning is still the same even today. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much. Excellent job. Did you notice that when it was not twisted together, it was very weak, but when it was twisted together, it was very strong? My analogy as I come through, because I really, this is a magical place. It is when you take historical principles of greatness, respect for one another, leaving things better than you found it, continuous learning, SnapCabToyota's principles of being studious and curious. When you take your culture, your whole company, and start twisting it together with these principles, and you make these the fundamental principles by which you operate every day, you're going to have this strong thread. And nothing's going to come against you. This is how I did it at my company. I saw what they were doing, and I said, I'm going to 3S every day. I'm going to have a morning meeting. I'm going to teach and train my people every day. We're going to improve, and then we're going to work. Those are the three threads that we took together in our company, and we made that strong string that can't be broken and made us as successful as we are. It's all very simple.
All right, Stephen, so what are we seeing here?
Well, this is essentially the same act that the woman was just doing a little bit with the spinning and drawing of the cotton, but now it's set up in an industrial kind of scale. So this was just a little bit later. They ramped up the production, and you can see from going from the single strand, now there's multiple strands going on that one person could be operating.
That simple weight determined whether or not the string, when it became too tight, it stopped it from spinning, and then it got it going again. It's really amazing. Now, these are the original looms that his mother would have been working on, and having to take this shuttle right here, and every time she made a path, she had to pass the shuttle through by hand. So this is Sakichi's first improvement. His mother's weaving on a loom like this, and every time she makes a pass, she has to take that shuttle and by hand pass it through. This is the string. See this little string right here? So he's flying his kite, and all of a sudden, boom, he tugs on it. He goes, that's interesting. He thinks this is lateral thinking. And he says, what happens if I attach that string to a foot pedal down there? And then every time my mother made a pass, like she could just hit with one foot and it would snap. This thing would hit this right here and boom, snap this across. And then the other foot would do the same thing. So, 10 times faster from this one single string. So this is when I look at this, Sakichi was a carpenter. I'm a carpenter. I have a lot of affinity for what he's done. And I'm working in my shop at night. I'm struggling with how to cover screw holes in my cabinets, and I think, well, man, what if I took some plastic, put some adhesive on the back of it? Here it is right here. There's the product right here, right in front of you. And if I put some plastic, put adhesive on the back, I can cover the screw hole before it was done mechanically. They always fell out. They had to be caulked on. They were terrible. And that one little product, 40 countries, $40 million in business from one little product. This was my strength. This was the thing, this was my curiosity. What if 800 products later? The same thing. What is your strength? What is the thing? What is the problem that you need to solve? Could it be at this level? Okay, Glenn, you have a similar story with SnapCab, the same thing. And can you tell your story real quick? What happened with SnapCab? How did you start it?
Because of the audio quality, it wasn't as good, the mics weren't on the right people, we're going to re-ask the question that Paul asked of Glenn, which was, Glenn, your story is actually quite similar. How did SnapCab begin?
Okay, so I was a cabinet maker. I got into remodeling elevators. It was just like an inside-out cabinet, so it was easy for us to do that. So to a large extent, we mistake-proofed elevator remodeling and making it simple for these elevator mechanics to do this work. It fits every elevator cab, every construction type, and it reduced the installation time for the elevator maintenance companies from 4 days down to 1 day.
Wow, that's a big change.
Right, and that led to the growth that SnapCab's enjoying now.
So like Toyota, you had a problem and you came up with a rather simple solution.
That's
that
right.
led to great success.
That's right.
Yeah, the same kind of thing. But you were not an elevator remodel contractor, were you? You were a cabinet maker. Exactly. Sakichi Toyota. Sakichi Toyota, exactly the same. How beautiful that you're here to tell that story. And look at his company today. Unfreaking believable. When you solve problems. And Glenn told me last night at dinner, or was it this morning? You were telling me in the taxi cab that problems are gold. Oh, right? That's the way you think about it. Problems are gold. Problems are gold. Okay, we're ready.
Okay, now please let's have the shadow.
So we saw the first loom that Toyota produced for his mother to make her job much simpler. And now this was the next stage, the next step in the innovation, where it was a powered loom.
So now I want you to hear something very important here. Okay, we're going to go down to the next station. So as you saw, as he made one improvement, he made the next improvement. What happened is the bottleneck changed, the constraint changed. So in continuous improvement in our world, you're going to make an improvement, and the improvements are just going to, it's one after another. Don't ever think to yourself, oh, well, I've made it. No. They're just going to continue. The bottleneck changes, the constraint changes, and then you chase the new constraint. It's a game. This whole thing is not work. It's a giant mental game. And if you treat it like that, you're going to enjoy it a lot more. I don't think, oh, God, another thing to improve, another thing to learn, another puzzle to solve, another game to participate in. Okay?
And so we go from one powered loom to many powered looms. And now we have one person able to run several machines. This seems like such a large advancement from Toyota's mother working alone on that simple loom.
He's demonstrating that one person now can manage all these machines because of the automation, the simple automation.
So here we see Toyota's innovative solution to a problem. There's a little piece of metal that each thread would pass through. And if a thread broke, that piece of metal would drop down, stopping the machine.
This lever is connected to that white lever. White lever pushing on the machine stop. If this device holds open is not attached, defective product.
Okay, so I want to pause here, okay? So again, one of the things that I concluded after coming back to Toyota after 5 years, I realized really what Toyota was doing. And the first time I came to Japan, I didn't understand it. It was way too complex. And so I realized there was just one simple thing that Toyota was doing. There were two. But number one, they were eliminating waste. They had the ability to see these 8 wastes that they identified, and they were able to see them. The waste that he identified here was a defect. Exactly. So if you produce a defect, then all your effort is down the drain. So Sakichi said, how do we stop a defect? Now, I want to ask you a question. I don't know if you understood what he just showed you, but was that complicated or was that simple? That was ridiculously simple. A single thread put through a piece of metal, the thread breaks, boom, it stops the machine. That's it. What was that? Correct. The thread holds the metal part, so every of those 500 threads are webbed through there. It drops, the machine stops, the operator repairs it, the machine goes, no defect. The same technology that Sakichi developed at the turn of the century is the exact same technology they're currently using in the machines now. The same technology. It is all very simple. None of this is very complicated. So Toyota was doing two things. They first understood the waste, and they were able to see it. I go, that's all they're doing is eliminating waste by seeing waste. But then I realized the key to making that happen effectively, this is the revelation I had, was the development of their people. They spent a lot of time teaching and training their people rather than just say, go eliminate waste. We just say, go eliminate waste. Don't you see the waste? No. You have to train people relentlessly to see waste every day in a morning meeting. And this is what changed for me. Everything is actually incredibly simple. There's nothing complex about it. It looks complex when you put it all together like this, but in reality, what Sakichi did started from a single string, and then Jidoka, this is automation with a human touch, Jidoka, which means the machine has the ability to almost think like a person. It can recognize when a problem occurs, so it stops. Jidoka is automation with a human touch. This is the first Jidoka. Now, imagine what it would be like for all of you if I took you to a factory today that Sakichi Toyota set up and was functioning. What if I told you it was the only factory in the entire world, and it's the only factory in Japan, and Sakichi Toyota set up thousands of factories in Japan with these machines, and there's only one left, and it's operational, and it's still using these same machines? What would you say? We're going there. We're going to the only, even more primitive than this. Over 100 years old, Sakichi Toyota personally went and set the factory up, personally worked with the family, spent months there training them on how to use the machine. It's still operational today, and it's the only one in the world, and we found it, and we're going.
Look around here. Look what you're looking at now. Look what here. Seeing all this stuff, I go, no way. And this is not a tourist town. This is like off the grid. Nobody comes here.
You can walk everywhere you want. You have to be very aware not to touch the machines. Everything's super tight. You can videotape anything you want, but be aware. If the woman is working on that and you're blocking her, move away and think about what's going on here, because it's a very unusual opportunity. Most people come in here and they like coming in another planet. It's insane. You're stepping back in time to the Edo period. Okay, pretty bad, isn't it? So they take a roll of yarn that's made. Just the winding process changes the texture of the thread, and they do this several times, and then it goes on the loom. And this machine's like 100 years old, and they still use it every day. So we'll keep going. We're going to show you everything. So then they run it up on the bobbins, on that bobbin right there. Then the bobbins go over here. Look over here, right here.
Behind it.
Then the bobbins go behind here according to the pattern that they want to make. Then they wind it up on a giant spool right here. They wind it up on a giant spool right here. And those giant spools then go at the base of the machines that Sakichi made. And that's where they start winding. And so it's this entire process that makes the fabric feel the way it feels that the Japanese people want that this guy's doing.
It's hard to convey the experience of being in this room. These old machines were running. It was so noisy and there was so much going on. So seeing it in slow motion, you're able to begin to see some of the things that are going on. When I was there, I just stared at a machine for a while to try to take in everything. Now in this room, as I recall, Glenn, there was only about 2 people running all these machines.
It was amazing. A lot happening, very little labor.
Yeah.
So one of the things I didn't point out to you is there's a computer in there. And you might not know that, but there's a computer on every machine. So what happens is the shuttle has to change colors, and you'll see they change the track system, the computer that tells the machine what to do. So SnapCabToyota was working with computers way back then.
So Glenn, something that I found really interesting was the motivation for Sakichi in developing the loom and making it more automated. What came from a desire to help his mother, just to meet her needs. It wasn't necessarily a financial decision,
No.
but it was a desire to help and to be useful. That was a very powerful message throughout that part of the museum.
And later on, as these looms developed, he had a desire to help all of Japan because he saw Ford Motor Car and GM coming to Japan with their cars, and he thought, we should be making our own cars in Japan. And so then he was the one that led the way in starting the Toyota motor car by taking his patents from the looms, selling them, and put himself in a position to finance the start of the Toyota motor car.
So Glenn, it was a great story, but it's not just a story. There were things that we could learn from our trip to Japan and things that we've wanted to bring back to SnapCab. And even in this little segment, I feel like we could teach on topics like humility and optimism, about the 8 wastes.
Right.
There's all kinds of things that we can learn just from this little segment.
Machines with a human touch.
Yeah. And so those are things we'll be talking about more fully with our staff here at SnapCab. But how can others learn about it?
Well, they can find the Human Business vlog on YouTube, and that's where SnapCab's opening our doors and sharing everything that we're learning with everybody.
A human business is centered around 5 principles. No, not those principles, these ones.
Introducing a new era of kind work.
An authentic place to be useful.
A place to grow a community.
Welcome to a new way of doing business.
Oh, that's great, Glenn. Thank you very much for that. And I look forward to looking at more of the videos and talking again about our trip to Japan. It really was a learning experience for me.
Yeah, thanks for coming along on the ride, Stephen.